Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Lively U Virtual Learning Academy program. On behalf of the Wood County Committee on Aging, we welcome our guest speaker today, Mark Goodwin, and he will be sharing with us 10 superfoods to boost your health in COVID times. So please welcome Mark, a student at BGSU.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Goodwin. Like Danielle said, I'm a student at Bowling Green University. I've also been a registered dietitian for the last 8 years. My practice is down here in Dayton, Ohio, and then I also do a variety of other things with dietetics throughout the state, mostly in the lower part of the state. So, we're going to talk today a little bit about superfoods. Get my screen on here. Can everybody see that okay? Okay. So, these are going to be 10 superfoods to help boost your health in COVID times. And of course, now my thing is
You might just have to
okay.
go.
There we
Yeah.
go. uh, so, uh, Superfoods offer some really important nutrients that can power pack your meals and snacks. Uh, so we're going to just discuss the 10 superfoods that can boost your health. We're going to talk about berries, fish, leafy greens, nuts, olive oil, whole grains, yogurt, cruciferous vegetables, legumes, and tomatoes. Then we're going to discuss how to include them in your diet. And along the way, you always see all these really weird nutritional terms. We're going to stop every so often and talk about those nutritional terms so you have a better understanding of what they mean. So, first off, let's talk about berries. Now, one of the reasons why we have berries as a superfood is they're high in fiber, they're naturally sweet, and those rich colors mean they are high in antioxidants and other disease fighting nutrients. I guess I got to go on the slide here. So, how to include them? Well, you could add these berries to yogurt, cereal, smoothies, or eat as a snack. Um, Now, when berries aren't in season, it's just as healthy to use frozen fruits, and for that matter, frozen vegetables too, because they're all picked at the peak of freshness. So they keep all their nutrients when you have them frozen. So frozen can be as good as fresh, and even canned can be good too. So, antioxidants and free radicals. So, this is a scientific term, but what a free radical is, and here's my little free radical right here, is they're an atom that doesn't have uh, an extra molecule. So, free radicals are molecules that are produced when your body breaks down food, or when you're exposed to tobacco smoke, or even radiation and things like that. So, they contain oxygen, but they have an uneven number of electrons. And so that uneven number allows them to easily react with other molecules. So you can see that free radical wants to get something for this uh, uh, electron that it's missing. So it's going to go to the healthy cell and grab one of those molecules. Now free radicals can cause large chemical reactions in your body, and that's just because they react so easily. And these reactions are called oxidation. So, an antioxidant tries to keep these oxidation reactions from happening by offering a molecule to help stop the badness. So, these antioxidants they're trying to keep these grabby free radicals from causing unintended harm. So they protect your cells against free radicals. And those free radicals, um, uh, the antioxidants help protect and have a role in uh, stopping heart disease, cancer, and other diseases. Next superfood is fish. Now, fish can be a great source of protein and something we call omega 3 fatty acids. And omega 3 fatty acids help prevent heart disease. So, how would you include fish? Well, you can buy fresh, frozen, or canned fish. Um, but the fish with the highest amount of omega 3 fatty acid content are salmon, tuna steaks, mackerel, herring, trout, anchovies, and sardines. And these are all very fatty fishes, but like I said, that fat uh, is highest in omega 3s. Now, I know you've probably heard about, oh, well, tuna has a lot of mercury, salmon has a lot of mercury, but fisheries have changed over the past 15 to 20 years, and more of these fish are farmed. For instance, Ohio is home to 12 trout farms. There's one near Bowling Green, there's one down here near Tip City in Urbana, where we live. And so those are use fresh water, and the fish are not exposed to as much of these mercury and other things like that. So you're going to find the fish are quote unquote cleaner than they used to be. So why omega 3 fatty acids? Well, these are essential fats. Our bodies can't make them, so they've got to get them from outside sources from our food. So foods high in omega 3 fatty acids are going to include fish, especially, vegetable oils, nuts, walnuts, especially, avocados, flax seeds, and leafy vegetables. And on my list here, these are the top foods highest in omega 3 fatty acids. It's going to be things like your flax seeds, chia seeds. That's why you see flax seeds and chia seeds in all these specialty foods. Fish, high amounts of fatty acid. Walnuts, tofu, soybeans have a lot of omega 3 fatty acids. In fact, around Bowling Green, there are some specialty farms that are actually using uh, 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 omega 3 fatty acids that have been uh, produced in soybeans, and they actually have more. They produce more of the omega 3s than others. Some of your other omega 3 fatty acid foods are going to be shellfish like oysters, canola oil, navy beans, Brussels sprouts, and avocados. Next, we're going to go talk about leafy greens. Now, dark leafy greens are a good source of vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron. And they also add fiber into your diet. And they are high in several phytochemicals. And we'll talk about what phytochemicals are in a second. Um, but leafy greens and how to include them. These leafy greens that we're talking about are things like spinach, Swiss chard, kale, collard greens, or mustard greens. Best way to use these is to put them in salads or saute them in a little olive oil. And you can also add greens to soups and stews. One of my favorites is I had never had collard greens before I moved to Ohio. And we make this thing called an African peanut stew, which has got sweet potatoes and peanuts and the collard greens in it. And with collard greens, you got to get this vein out of there because that's really chewy and a little too much fiber. And so, but it makes it makes the stew kind of meaty. So it's a great alternative. And some of these like kale and the Swiss chard and the mustard greens. I mean, uh, if you're not used to them, that's okay. You just try to put them more in. I think most of us are more familiar with spinach more than anything else. So phytochemicals, that's what's in these leafy green vegetables. It's what's in most vegetables, and they're basically compounds that are produced by plant. So phyto means plant. So these are plant chemicals, and they are believed to be protective to your cells and provide protection from damage that could lead to cancer. So we always suggest eat a rainbow of colors for the maximum benefit. Uh, your purples, your yellows, your greens, your reds, your oranges. Well, the reds we're going to talk about lycopene a little bit later on. But eating a variety of colors allows you to get a variety of these phytochemicals, which are produced by the plants. Next on the top 10 are nuts. And nuts are a great source of plant protein. You've got your hazelnuts, walnuts, almonds, pecans, cashews. Uh, Nuts also provide and contain a large amount of monosaturated fats. And these monosaturated fats are believed to be a factor in reducing the risk of heart disease. So, how to include them? Well, add a handful to your oatmeal or your yogurt, or have as a snack. Now, nuts are really high in calories, so there's a give and take. My suggestion is to use a small handful. Um, and then, there's also all these nut butters, peanut butter, and peanuts are actually a legume, but we'll talk about that. Um, uh, Almonds, cashew butter, and they're also a great companion to cooked veggies or salads. So this is my back of my peanut butter jar. Um, so sources of monosaturated fats include nuts, like we talked about, nut butters, peanut oil, olives, canola oil, avocados. It's believed that eating foods that are high in monosaturated fats may help lower your bad LDL cholesterol, and they may be a factor in reducing the risk of heart disease. So on your label, you'll see saturated fat, polyunsaturated fat, and monosaturated saturated fat. What does that mean? Well, saturated fats and trans fats basically come from animal sources. Polyunsaturated fats and monosaturated fats, unsaturated fats, basically come from your plant sources. And so your body doesn't, uh, your body utilizes them a little easier than your saturated fats. Saturated fats are the kind that eventually turn your arteries, clog your arteries, and cause those kind of situations. So the idea is to try to lower the amount of saturated fats and use these monounsaturated or polyunsaturated fats. Next, let's talk about olive oil. And olive oil is another one of those superfoods. It's a good source of vitamin E, something we call polyphenols. There's plant phenols and monounsaturated fatty acids, and they help reduce the risk of heart disease. So, how to include it? Well, use it in place of butter or margarine in pasta or rice dishes. Drizzle it over vegetables or use it as a dressing when sauteing. It's also great with crusty bread. Um, Olive oil has a high heat point, so it's really good for cooking too. So, polyphenols. This is the next nutrition term. Um, Again, it's plant phenols. They offer protection from the development of cancers, cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, and diabetes. They're found in plant foods such as fruits, veggies, herbs, spices, tea, dark chocolate, and wine. Sometimes you'll hear the word flavanols or phenolanic acid or polyphenolanic amides. Uh, and sometimes you'll hear about it from wine and nuts, resveratrol and stavins. But what they really are these chemicals that are made by the plant that help break down your food and help your body take it in easier. Whole grains is next on the 10 superfood group. Now, it's a good source of both soluble and insoluble fiber. So, what's soluble fiber? Well, soluble fiber is fiber that your body can utilize and break down for nutrition. Insoluble fiber is basically fiber that goes in one end and comes out the other end, and it's pretty much the same. They're both helpful because insoluble fiber helps take out fats and other used up foods that the body can't use. Uh, but whole grains also contain several B vitamins, which are all, excuse me, had to take a little drink of water there. Several B vitamins, minerals, and again, phytonutrients, plant nutrients. They've been shown to lower cholesterol and protect against heart disease and diabetes. So, what's the difference between your regular grains and your whole grains? Well, regular grains, they use the inside, the germ, and sometimes the endosperm of the grain for your food. Whole grains uses this bran outer layer, which has all that fiber in it and good stuff there. So that's really the difference between whole grains and the processed grains. So how to include them? Well, um, have a bowl of oatmeal, or if you normally get a baked potato, substitute brown rice or quinoa or wheat berries instead. Um, when you're buying bread, look at the label and look for 100% whole wheat flour or 100% brown rice. These are kind of things that will help you with your um, uh, fiber. So, phytonutrients. What does that word mean? Well, again, phyto, plant. So, these are plant nutrients. Um, there are hundreds of phytonutrients that are often referred to as phytochemicals, also. So, they're basically the same. And again, it's the same idea. Try to eat a rainbow. Your red, orange, and yellow vegetables and fruit, your dark leafy green vegetables, garlic, onion, chives, and leeks, all are phytonutrients. Yogurt, another one of those 10 superfoods. It's a good source of calcium and protein. Yogurt also contains live cultures called probiotics. Now, your gut is filled with bacteria that help break down your foods. Sometimes the bacteria can get uh, there can become less of it because of sickness or other issues. Uh, uh, in probiotics, these are good bacteria that can help protect the body from other more harmful bacteria. So when you buy yogurt, look for the yogurts that have live active cultures on the label. They're going to be cultures such as lactobacillus, lactoacidophilus, L. Bulgaricus. I'm sorry, my pronunciation is terrible today. And the other one here. But with live cultures, they help your gut. So when you're choosing yogurts, try to choose the uh, plain yogurt and add your own fruit. The fruited or flavored yogurts tend to contain a lot of sugar, and they're tasty, but you could get your plain yogurt and add your fruit to it or your nuts, and be just fine with it. Sometimes you just don't need something that quite as sweet. You can use yogurt in place of mayonnaise or sour cream, or in dips or in sauces. Next on the top 10, we're going to talk about cruciferous vegetables. These are vegetables and greens, kale, uh, turnips. Uh,
Yep, I think your screen stopped sharing, Mark.
okay, yeah, I see it just up to. Am I back?
You are back. Thank you.
Yay!
Yep.
Computer got mad because of the cruciferous vegetables. Um, including kohlrabi, mustard greens, radishes, and turnips. They are an excellent source of fiber and vitamins, and a source of phytochemicals. And these phytochemicals help prevent against some type of cancers. So when we've been talking about all these different vegetables and fruits, these phytochemicals, these um, phytonutrients are all produced by the plant and have some protective elements for you. So, how to use them? Well, you can stir fry, steam. My favorite for Brussels sprouts is to use an air fryer with some olive oil and some Parmesan cheese and get them nice and toasty. Or we'll use balsamic vinegar and some peanut dust, and they turn out great. You can also use these vegetables in soups, casseroles, and pasta. Of course, my granddaughters like broccoli and cheese. So, yeah, however it goes. But these all have protective qualities for them. Next one, legumes. And there are so many types of beans and legumes. They include kidney beans and black beans and red beans and garbanzo beans, soybeans, peas, uh, just a whole variety of them. They're an excellent source of fiber, folate, and plant-based protein. And study shows they can reduce the risk of heart disease. So, how to include them? Well, add them to soup, salads, and casseroles. Uh, Beans are great as a side too. Make some chili or a bean-based spread like hummus. And all hummus really is garbanzo beans that have been crushed up. Add a little lemon juice and tzatziki sauce, and you've got uh, the hummus. Or you can make, a side of beans with some in a Mexican style. So your choice is kind of endless there. Next on the list, tomatoes. Now, tomatoes are high in vitamin C and lycopene. Tomatoes also have potassium, vitamin B, and vitamin E, and other nutrients. Lycopene is another one of those colors, and it's been shown to reduce the risk of prostate cancer. Uh, Lycopene gives tomatoes their bright red color, and they protect the tomatoes. Lycopene protects the tomatoes from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. In much the same way, uh, lycopene can help protect your cells from damage. So, tomatoes, how to include them? Well, tomatoes are great in a salad or as a sauce in your pasta. They're tasty in soups, stews, or chili. Um, and tomatoes are best prepared heated in a healthy fat like olive oil because the lycopene becomes easier for your body to use. It breaks it down a little bit so it's more available to your body. So that's where pasta sauce and tomato sauce and all these other things can really just kind of give the tomatoes a boost. But of course, I like tomatoes by themselves with a little salt and pepper in the summertime. So there's a whole variety of ways to include them. So, just as review, the 10 superfoods: berries, fish, leafy greens, nuts, olive oil, whole grains, yogurt, cruciferous vegetables, legumes, tomatoes are all important superfoods. So, we're going to open that up for questions. And I thank you for listening to me talk.
Perfect. We're going to go ahead and we'll go through the questions that were in the chat feature, Mark. So I'll read them, and then if you
Okay.
don't mind assisting us with that.
Is it right to
So
see the list of
do wild caught fish have more mercury than farm raised?
Uh, right
Is
now,
the first question.
yes, because most of the time when you've got wild caught fish, they are caught as they're going upstream to spawn. And of course, rivers, sometimes the mouth of rivers will be a more likely to have pollutants. Although out west in Oregon and Washington and in Canada, they've been much more careful about rivers and trying to clean up those rivers. You know, it's night and day in the last 10, 15 years what's happened with those.
Okay, the next question, thank you. The next question is, are pecans high up on the nut nutrition scale?
Sure, they are. Any kind of nut has a lot of uh, those. Uh, yes. Short answer
Nutritional
is
value here.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He's
So the
not going to
next
get a glass
question
of
is
water
this.
here.
Yeah, no problem. I'll read the question. Sugar, palm oil, and salt are included in your peanut butter. Were included in your peanut butter.
Yes, they're included in most peanut butters unless you get the natural peanut butter. Um, uh, Usually, sugar is added to most peanut butters to give it a little more flavor. As I have grandkids, so that's my grandkids' peanut butter. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, you can buy natural peanut butters which do not have the added um, uh, uh, palm oil or salt or sugar. Most of them will add salt, um, but the difference is if you ever had old-fashioned peanut butter, natural peanut butter, the oil moves up to the top, and for some consumers that's just unappealing. So they add palm oil, which is a saturated fat, and it's hard at room temperature. Those monosaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats we talk about are liquid at room temperature. So that palm oil, the little bit of palm oil they uh, add some structure to that, so it's not as you don't have all that oil coming to the top and it looks greasy.
Okay. Is olive oil good for frying? Example for eggs.
Sure. It's going to have a little bit of a different taste to it. So it's like anything else acquired. That's why canola oil is another good option there too. Um, uh, Olive oil has a taste, uh, especially the first pressing olive oil. As you get to farther down, second pressing, third pressing olive oils, they don't have as much flavor. Or, look for a combination of an olive oil and a canola oil, or an olive oil and a corn oil. They'll be a little less. They'll have a little less flavor to them too.
Okay. So is it better to use olive oil in the air fryer as opposed to canola oil?
I think it's just personal preference.
Okay.
I like the olive oil because I like the taste of it. Um, it's just a matter of what you like the best.
Okay.
What we're trying to get away from is things like lard and things like some of these oils that are solid at room temperature. If
Okay.
it's solid at room temperature, uh, that's when you want to kind of say, maybe not.
So the next question is, why do tomatoes cause heartburn?
Well, tomatoes cause heartburn because they have a lot of acid in them. In fact, they're probably the most acidic of the vegetables. Fruits that are acidic are things like the citrus fruits, oranges, and all the rest. But tomatoes have a lot of acid. So, if you have a problem with an upset stomach or a high acid, when you're making tomatoes, use something that also includes like some cream or uh, something that's going to soak up some of that acid, like rice or pasta, or just to reduce the amount you take.
Good question. All right. I'm going to stop the recording.